Hello, my name is Jesus Barrera. With me today is Gabriela Galvan and Gerardo Viramontes. Today we'll be we'll be discussing a system project for the restaurant Eduardo's. They have, they're in need currently of an upgrade to the current point of sale system, and they have contracted us to come up with a new system. And Gabby here, she will be further elaborating, give you a little bit more background on the business and on our design plan.
Eduardo's Restaurant is a Mexican food, steak, and fast food restaurant that currently employs 9 waiters, 2 cashiers, and an assistant manager. The restaurant is run by business owner and general manager Eduardo Acevedo. They are currently operating under a custom Windows-based point-of-sale system that consists of 3 terminals in which to place orders and finalize sales. They have a file server in charge of hosting the database and network files. Its limited input channels causes delayed orders and forces waiters to bypass the system and give the order directly to the chef, causing confusion and leading to costly mistakes. Jesus Barrera will further elaborate on the design portion of the project.
Well, here what we're presenting today's going to be, I'm going to be showing some preliminary uh, some design diagrams, beginning with our use cases. What this is going to be showing is going to be showing the waiter. It's going to be showing the use case for the use case for the timekeeping system. As you can see, we have 3 actors here. We have the waiter, an assistant manager, and the general manager. Each one of these have access to the following. For example, the waiter is only going to be having access to the clock in, clock out, and to view and print his own hours. Okay. On the other hand, the manager and the general manager will only be having more privileges, and they'll have access to pretty much everything else. Next, here we have an activity diagram, also outlining the timekeeping system. This one over here. Here we have the user in the timekeeping subsystem, which the way they're interacting. Again, we see how the user is going to enter the employee ID number to the timekeeping system. It's going to record it, and the time of arrival. It's going to record the ID and the time of arrival to the database. If the user wishes to print a report, again we see how the command is sent, so the event is triggered. It goes to the subsystem. It decides whether it's a manager or not, and depending on this outcome, if it's true or false, it would assign different options or return different options to the user. Similarly, the edit portion, the user wishes to edit its hours, enter his or her ID, enter the ID to be edited if they have privileges, or make adjustments. Similarly, they have privileges. Next up, this is pretty much the order class diagram. This is the different entities that exist within our system. In this case, it's going to be 3, which is there's going to be an employee, it's going to be a ticket, and it's going to be a clock object. All of these 3, we see how each 3 relate to the following, to the next. I'm sorry. The employee has the attributes of an ID number and a name. The ticket, similarly, it's linked by the primary key here, which is the foreign key on the ticket. It's the ID number, the order ID, the item, and the total. And here in the clock, we see the different attributes for these entities. These represent pretty much the different aspects of the different objects that will be interacting within the system. Finally, what everything's going to be running on, we created here a network diagram. This is pretty much like a brief overview of the system. It's going to be behind a firewall, so as to prevent, add a little bit extra security. It'll be running on a single router/access point. This demonstrates up here the 10 tablets that 10 or more tablets, depending on what the general manager discusses, or decides. This will be handed out to the waiters, and we're also going to keep the 2 order terminals. This will also be on set places, either they can have access to either cash out to make a sale or to place an order in case there's no tablets available. So that pretty much gives you an idea of how the system is going to be interacting with each other, how the system is going to be interacting with the users. Now, to further elaborate a little bit more on a prototype with designed, is Gerardo.
Hi. Pretty much what I'm going to be showing you guys tonight is just a little preliminary bare bones system that we've created. As you can see here, we've actually created a bogus database, and we've created just a bogus ID number. Basically, every employee would have an ID number that would bring them up to the system and determine what kind of permissions they might have. In this example, we're just going to use 1, 2, 3, and if you notice, we'll clock in. Once we clock in, we'll have access to either basically anything on the menu, which would be Cokes in this case, mozzarella sticks, milanesa, apple pie, and stuff like that. If we were to click on one of those, you'll notice that the order is submitted. This will then send the order over to either the cook or the chef for processing. At the same time, if we go to the database, you'll notice that we have an employee database right here created on MySQL. The time in, which is the clock in time, is actually right here. So every time that we have an employee clocking in, we'll be able to keep track of what time they came in, what time they left, if they took any breaks, if they did not, if they took a lunch, or they took longer. We'll be able to better manage basically anything that has to do with that portion. As far as the code itself, we also have a small example, and on the small example, you'll notice that we have a sort of security measure. The reason we've included security measure is to prevent any tampering from the outside, whether it be by any sort of mobile device or any sort of computer or laptop that might be brought into the premises. We've actually had a previous client of ours that their databases were being tampered with, and it was also a SQL database. So one of the problems that we found was that they were running different instances, and they were using these instances to actually interact with one another, deleting some of the orders, and they were able to take some of the cache. So in this case, to prevent that, we've implemented a measure where any time that the instance is started, the instance will only allow itself to run once. And then once we get that instance running, every single user will have a single session. So then we'd be able to keep track of what every single user did during their session, which will give us basically reports on basically sales, anything you can think of. And that's basically our presentation. Basically, I don't know. Let me transfer you over to Jesus, and he'll add the final word.
So what this all pretty much amounts to, we've tried to meet the user requirements. We tried to he set up try to address the different limitations and different problems that they're having, such as long wait periods to place in orders, such as mistakes, and improve overall efficiency, which is the point of this the system upgrade. What we'll be doing is reducing the time it takes for a waiter to place an order, and just improve the overall efficiency. So that's our proposed project. We hope you like it, and go forward with us in your decision. Thank you.